Okay guys, so I just wanted to spend a little time in showing you how I straighten rifle cartridges that I've dug. Here are 3 that I've already done. You can see they're nice and round again. Mostly round. Here's one that I'll be working on with you. A lot of times I find them, they've got nice creases in them, and you can see this is a result. The nice lines in there, you know, so if you don't like that, then don't do it. But if they're creased pretty good, that's going to happen. Another thing that'll happen often is just a little bit of chipping around the top. It's just so thin for being in the ground. That's just going to happen. But I like this a whole lot better. I think they look a whole lot better in the display when they've been straightened back out. And I don't clean them much beyond water and a toothbrush, because I want them to look like they've been in the ground since the 1860s. I think that looks good. So let's get started. So the first thing I do, I simply take water and a toothbrush, like I said, and I get most of the dirt off. These have actually been soaking overnight in this water. You can put a little soap in there if you want. And the reason I soak them overnight is because they're usually packed full of dirt in there, and that loosens it up, makes it a little bit easier to get out of there. So, and this is really the extent of the cleaning I do. Take a rag and dry it off if you want, but I want to keep that green patina on the brass, and the more you clean, the newer it's gonna look, and I want them to look old. So that's how far I go with the cleaning on mine. So the next step, I take a regular screwdriver and I start digging out the mud. You can do this outside, you can do it over a trash can, but just the beginnings of the mud. And I might just twist that screwdriver a little bit and get that opening started. You're not going to get all the dirt out at once, especially if you've soaked them in water. The next thing I do is take a needle nose and start it in there, and gently, being the key word, use my finger and I spread that open. Basically using the pliers in the opposite direction it was intended to go. I'm just starting to get that cartridge open back up there. And then as we go, and as we can get the screwdriver in farther and get more mud out. And this one wasn't too bad, it wasn't kinked too bad, so I can actually get all the way into the bottom with it. Now, if you want to work outside with a water hose and a sprayer, that would help to spray this, get all the loose junk out. I don't have one where I'm working at the moment. Alright, but I do have a blowgun. I'm going to blow that out real quick. Okay, I've blown it out with air, got most of it out. Here's another tool that would work really well if you're working in your home or something, just a bore brush. Paint supply, automotive paint supply stores keep these for cleaning out paint guns. That's why I have them. If you get that wet and clean it out, there's many ways you can do this. So, and just depending on how yours is smashed and what it needs, you just slowly keep working it. Slow is the key. And then what you want to make are a couple of these, depending on the size of the cartridge you're straightening out. Most of mine I've used a 1/2 inch bolt, and I've cut the threads off here and used a belt sander and rounded it off nice and smooth. And so this is just a tool we used, and you got to start it in there. Let me move these. You start it in there, and when it's been smashed, you see we've got a little where the crease is on both sides. That's what we want to round out. So I lay it with the end off the wood so we don't smash that, and then I use a mechanic's double-faced soft blow hammer. And I have a smaller one somewhere. I don't like using this. This one's a little big, but it works. So I slowly drive that in, round it out. Drive it in, round it out. Now I'm only going to go up to where this dent starts. Just keep going slow. See how nice and round the end is. If you need a smaller one, this is a 3/8 bolt that I used. And just work it in there. You want to start getting that dent worked out. If you need to go back to the pliers, if that works, eventually you're going to run out of room on this end. And basically just do what your situation demands. Just keep using the block of the wood and the rubber hammer. You'll eventually get it. The reason I use a block of wood and a rubber hammer, anytime you're smashing metal between two other pieces of metal, if I used a metal hammer between here, the thin metal will spread out, will get thin. So you'll basically be smashing the cartridge more and more, and you'll just destroy it. Rubber face, you spread out the rubber when you're hitting, not the metal. And the most dangerous part of this, I would say, is what I'm doing right here. As if that cartridge is weak there, you could probably hurt it. And I need to check for more dirt. Oh yeah, look at that. Always get some loosened up. I got a little bit of a dent there, but I'm okay with that. Now we're going to check to see if I'm all the way in. Just use my thumbnail as a guide. The end of the bolt is about there. So I may not go any farther. It's about as far as I want to go. So there you have it. That's where I'm going to stop. Got a nice looking cartridge. Got a nice dark brown patina, and it goes to the greens and the reds. One more down. 1,000 to go.
Pistola, pistola. Hey. Hey, Chucklehead, did you get the tools?
What tools?
The tools we've been using for the last 10 years.
Oh, those tools. Yeah, I got them.
Yeah, those tools.